Welcome to Fully In It, a show for moms who know they are called to so much more. Join me, Kate Saffel, a life and a business coach, and a woman on a quest to show that anything you desire for your life is truly possible. This show is about going fully in it for you and the people you love by showing up powerfully in all areas of your life. Join me for weekly episodes that will inspire you to follow your intuition, lead with integrity and heart, and create the life you've always dreamed of. Welcome to episode 107 of the Fully In It podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about ways for you to reduce and ease the daily overwhelm that is so common in motherhood. And I recently did a poll on my Instagram stories on my account, Happier in Motherhood, to just check in with you to see what are the areas of your life right now that are feeling challenging. And you responded that experiencing the daily overwhelm is one of them. And it's no surprise because motherhood comes with a whole host of responsibilities, tasks, worries that all contribute to a feeling of hitting your mental capacity and ultimately experiencing the emotion of overwhelm. I noticed this in myself this past weekend. I took my kids to Disney World, partially to see my parents and also just to have a little adventure, the four of us. And it got really crowded. And I tend to be very introverted, but combining that with keeping an eye on three kids in crowds, Disney is very sensory overloading. It is a lot. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of visuals to see. And I found myself not only getting overwhelmed, but also very frustrated. And I could see how the overwhelm was leading to me being more short with the kids, me feeling like, oh, I got to get out of here. I wasn't fully present for the experience and I wasn't totally enjoying it. And the thing is that overwhelm doesn't just happen in, theme park experiences like that, but it can happen on a daily basis if we aren't aware of the things that create overwhelm. Now, this episode is going to benefit you if you feel like you wake up every day and you're already behind. And you find it hard to keep up with the things on your list on a day-to-day basis. You often experience sensory overload, whether it's too many things to see, sounds really upset you, like the kids playing tends to trigger you, or your environment impacts you. If the house gets too messy, you feel yourself kind of like shutting down into overwhelm. And you often feel like you don't know what to do on a daily basis. You kind of like wake up, or maybe you get like partway through your day and you just totally lose steam and you're like, I don't even know what to do right now. And you're just spinning your wheels. I had to actually look up overwhelm because this is something we talk about a lot in motherhood, but I was like, you know what? What is the actual definition of it? And it made me laugh because the examples in the online dictionary talked about battles and work meetings as being sources of overwhelm, whether that was overwhelming another troop in battle or receiving too much information in a meeting and being overwhelmed. But then I got to the definition that stated that overwhelm is too much to deal with, check, and it causes someone to feel strong emotions, also check. I think that this is the perfect example of what motherhood can feel like for so many of us. So let's talk about the motherhood definition of overwhelm. It's when everybody and everything needs your attention. Have you ever had that where all of your kids, if you have multiple, they all want to talk to you at the same time? My kids do this. They are all having their own private conversation with me while their siblings are doing the exact same thing. And I have to remind them that I cannot participate in 3 separate conversations at the same time. No matter how good I seem to be at managing it all, it is impossible. This is what happens in overwhelm. There's too many things happening at the same time. Everything needs your attention. You know you can't be in 5 places at once, and you don't know when and how to start reducing the number of things that need you on a daily basis. And when this is left unchecked, it can lead to frustration with yourself, with your family, with your situation. It can create discontent because when we feel out of control of our days and our home environment, it may lead you to think that your home is the problem or the things that you own is the problem, when in reality, it is the way that you're seeing it. It's the systems that you have in place, and it may be the lack of your values in action that is creating the overwhelm. We want to just notice that frustration, discontent, irritation, that's another one. These are emotions that you don't have to experience as much in motherhood, and that they can be replaced with calm and more ease and peace in your home and in your heart. And we're going to work through some general ways to reduce your overwhelm so that you can experience more of these emotions. Okay, so the first one will probably not come as a surprise because I have been talking about this since 2015. It has been quite a journey of me speaking on this, and yet some things are timeless and they never change. The very first thing that you must do to reduce your overwhelm is simplify your home life. If you were to walk around your house right now, what are the things that overwhelm you most? Sensory overload comes from having too much visual clutter. This is where there's so many things out that your eye cannot find a place to rest, and it creates internal mental overload. There may also be too much noise in your home if you have a noisy home. Now, noise in a home comes from a few different things. One, obviously, having children creates a lot of noise. 2, devices, televisions, screens, things that produce noise can also contribute. But another interesting one that I have found is that if you have a lot of open space in your home and maybe you have like hardwood or just solid surfacing flooring and nothing to soften or dampen the noise, that echoing sound in your home can also create some extra stimulation that you may not need. And so rugs and carpet and soft furnishings actually can help to lessen that sense of overwhelm that is coming from your home environment. Now let's talk specifically about visual clutter and things in your home that are impacting your mental space. I have had clients talk about what's happening in their garage, a room that they almost never go into, and it's still being a source of overwhelm for them. Do you have any spaces in your home right now that maybe they're like out of sight and you think they're out of mind, but you still think about them? Maybe there's a messy closet, maybe it's your garage, maybe it's a playroom that doesn't get used anymore. It is very interesting how, even though this may not directly impact you on a daily basis, just knowing that that is there could be creating some overwhelm for you. Mental clutter is created often through the physical clutter within your home. So get clear right now on what you need to simplify in your home space to create some more ease for you on a daily basis. The second thing I want to talk about is simplifying your schedule. We really have to get ruthless about what we allow in our day and what we don't. You are the one who creates your days. It's true. You get to decide exactly how it is or is not going to go. Are you telling yourself you have to do something when you actually don't? Simplify your mental clutter by having a clear plan for each day of what you will absolutely do and what you will not do, and then stand by it, because when you do what you say you're going to do, it creates a confirmation in your mind that you are the kind of person who does what she says she will do, and you're more likely to do it in the future. I personally do not like a busy schedule. I experienced this firsthand this past fall. We had said yes to our daughter doing the Nutcracker, a local production of it, because she was dancing ballet at the time. And I knew in my gut that this was going to negatively impact our family life. We definitely err toward the side of having a lighter schedule. It is something that has been important to us since I first read the book Simplicity Parenting back in probably 2013 or 2014. And then I later got trained in this method, and our busy schedules can really wreak havoc on family life because it pulls us in too many different directions and it doesn't leave enough time for family connection. So I did say yes to my daughter doing the Nutcracker. And ultimately, she was practicing between her regular ballet classes as well as the rehearsals, sometimes 5 to 6 days a week, including Sundays. And I was a bit appalled that the schedule was this way. We had participated in the Nutcracker with other ballet studios when we have lived in different locations, and I felt that they were way more respectful to family life compared to this experience that we had. Ultimately, I was the one who said yes, and I had to take responsibility for that decision. But by the end of Nutcracker season, we were all incredibly fatigued. We were cranky about going to those last few practices. My daughter was completely overwhelmed by the experience of it. And I wondered how the kids who were in public or even private school were handling it, because my daughter is homeschooled and she still felt incredibly exhausted by all of it. All of this to say, you are the one who gets to decide what goes on the family calendar and what doesn't. And yes, I completely understand social pressure. And I get that sometimes you want to say yes because it's what your child wants. But we also have to remember that we are the adults who have the life experience to know how sometimes these things will turn out and what is ultimately in the best interest of our children as well as our family unit. So that brings me to my third point, which is to design your days according to your values. Do you know what you value as a family? I'm going to ideally be doing a future podcast episode on this, maybe a free workshop. I haven't decided yet, because this is something else I've noticed, is that knowing your values seems to be a need in this community, and I want to support you in getting clearer on them. Know your values, know what matters most to you as a family, and you want to make intentional life choices that support you in living in your values. For example, are you overwhelmed because you're working a job when you actually want to be a stay-at-home mom? This is an example of how your days are contradicting what you hold and value as what really matters most to you. Or are you overwhelmed because you've enrolled your kids in all of the things and you have to taxi them around and you're not having dinner together, and one of your values is having plenty of family time? What do you actually value and what do you actually want for your family? And if you weren't worried about what people would think of you, what would you choose? I know for me that when we really simplified our life and we decided to travel full time, it was because it truly reflected our values. We had to go against the grain, and I've talked about this in last week's episode and others. We had to go against the grain of what society prescribes for families and what we knew to be true for our family and the family culture that we have decided to create. Now let's talk about some ways that you can calm yourself down when you're feeling overwhelmed, because even if you put all of this into place, the overwhelm doesn't go away 100%. It just doesn't. The first thing I want to encourage you with is to notice what you are believing about yourself, your home, and your family when you are in a state of overwhelm. Start paying attention to the mental chatter happening. Are you saying to yourself, it's just too much? Are you saying, I cannot do it all? Are you saying, everybody wants too much from me, and you're feeling a lot of pity for yourself? So the way that we think ultimately creates our experience of our days. And I noticed within myself that when I began to shift to more empowering thoughts about myself, my home, and my family, I actually began to emotionally feel different in my body. So reminding myself, I can do what I need to get done. I am capable of managing this day with ease. I am the mom and the woman who can handle anything that comes my way, led me to feel more confident, in charge, empowered, and motivated. So you may even take a minute right now to just journal out what are some of your default thoughts that pop up when you're experiencing the emotion of overwhelm. Now, sometimes overwhelm comes on like a runaway train, and even with your best intentions, you find yourself in a state of just total overwhelm and you know something has to shift. Here is what I recommend when your brain is beyond its capacity. Go into a dark room or cover your eyes with an eye mask or a dish towel, whatever you have on hand. You can put on a show for the kids or get them in active doing something where you know that they are safe and they are taken care of, and let them know that you need time uninterrupted. And I know this may be challenging if you have babies or toddlers, so maybe you wait until nap time to do this. Whatever it takes for you to get a few minutes alone, even 5 to 10 minutes is going to create a noticeable shift in how you experience your day. So you're going to go into that dark room, you're going to cover your eyes with an eye mask, and you can play some calming music if that feels good. Covering your ears will help to reduce the sensory input. So notice what we're doing. You're removing your sense of vision. You're removing your sense of noise. And I would get in a really comfortable position and just do whatever you can to adjust your clothing and your surroundings so that you don't really feel the sense of touch so very much. Sometimes even taking a warm bath can be really soothing. We have a pretty loud fan in our bathroom where our bathtub is located, and I love flipping the fan on, locking the door, getting in a warm bath, and doing this exercise. So you're going to put on some calming music, something preferably that doesn't have words, because again, we're trying to reduce the thinking. And you're going to breathe deeply into your belly, and you're just going to notice any mental clutter or chatter that is floating by, and you're not going to actually engage with it. It's almost as if you're laying on your back and you're watching the clouds float by in the sky, but you don't become emotionally involved with the clouds. You just notice them, right? And you let them float by. And you continue breathing and you continue letting your body relax, deepening your breath, seeing if you can do a longer inhale followed by an even longer exhale, which will help to relax your body. And you keep doing this until you can feel that shift and you feel a bit of calm dropping in. And this is just your nervous system relaxing because you probably were completely overloaded. And ideally, you are able to get up and enter your day again feeling a bit more recharged and ready to take on whatever is on your list. Another thing I like to do when I'm overwhelmed is to change the scenery. Sometimes I don't want to go in a dark room and I don't want to calm down in that way. I'm like, get me out of here. I have to see something totally different. And if you're anything like me, then this next suggestion may be the one for you. You know that you could push through. I think that as women, we learn how to do this. We learn how to just get stuff done even when we're miserable. And I highly don't recommend that. And instead, maybe what you do is you go and change the scenery and you leave your home. Because when we push through, we know that the kids are going to be upset. You're going to be upset. It's just not going to be the best thing for all of you. So get out of the house and go get in nature, wherever your nearest patch of nature is. And take even just an hour away from home to reset and come back refreshed and ready to jump back into your day. So for me, I will notice, if I haven't set up my day properly, I will experience this sense of overwhelm, like say late morning, early afternoon. And I know I'm just done. And so I will tell the kids, hey, let's go run to the beach real quick and stick our feet in the sand and let the waves wash over our legs and go run around for a few minutes. And then we're going to come back home and do X, like whatever the next thing is that we have to do. And we are literally gone maybe 60 to 90 minutes, but we come back just completely renewed. And I hope that you have a place like this that does the same for you. Maybe think about some locations near you that could become your nature reset when you find that you are just overwhelmed beyond your capacity. Okay, so in a nutshell, wrapping all of this up, you want to minimize all the things in your home that are creating sensory overload. You want to get clear on your values and design your days around it. Let go of the busyness and focus on what matters most to you, and then troubleshoot the overwhelm when it does come up, because of course it will. If this episode benefited you and you enjoyed it, please consider leaving me a review on Apple Podcasts. This just lets people know that this is a podcast worth listening to, and it helps me get my message out to more moms who could really benefit from hearing these episodes. I appreciate you so, so much, and I will see you next week. If you loved this episode, it would make me so happy for us to connect more. I have the most amazing free resources like a 5-day e-course that will help you feel more confident leading your days and your family, a guided visualization for imagining and creating the life that you want. And if you are ready to take everything that you hear in this podcast and create it in your own life, you're definitely going to want to book a free 50-minute call with me to see if coaching is the perfect fit for you. Head to thestreamlinedlife.com/hello to find all of the latest resources from me. And I am sending so much love to you and your crew. I will see you next time.